At some point, language learning stops being a language problem and it starts being a belief problem. In today's video, guys, I'm gonna share with you 8 beliefs that quietly keep people stuck. I used to believe in them myself. Welcome back to Wanna Speak by Veronique. My name is Veronica. I am from Poland, and on this channel, we learn smarter, not harder. I'm sharing my language learning journey, the mistakes I've made, the tips I've learned, and basically the strategies that helped me become fluent in English and in Spanish. So are you ready to discover the psychology behind language learning? Let's go. The first belief that many learners fall for: if I understand English, speaking will come naturally. When we understand this language, it feels like progress because we can follow the movies, podcasts, YouTube. But when we try to speak, suddenly we open our mouth and it's like our mind simply goes blank. So for years, we keep believing that if we learn more words, more grammar, if we learn more phrasal verbs, if we learn to understand native speakers, then we will be able to speak. But that never happens. And this is where most of us get stuck. And it doesn't matter if you learn Spanish, English, German, or French, or Japanese. It's the same for all of us. Why is that? It's because understanding and speaking are completely two different skills. The first one doesn't automatically create the other. Understanding the language trains your ears, but to speak, you actually need to train your mouth. You need to train your facial muscles. Your face and your lips literally need to learn the new sounds, something that you have never produced before. So if we want to speak, yes, we need to train our ears, but later we need to practice speaking. Training our ears will never be enough. The key to success is intentional speaking practice. Even if it's messy, even if it's simple, even if it's super imperfect, it doesn't matter. You need to train your mouth. A sip of coffee, guys. Let's go to the second belief that keeps us super stuck. I need more vocabulary first. You know more words than you think you do. With even some basic verbs and basic words, you can have a basic conversation. For example, in a coffee shop, in a restaurant, or maybe asking for directions on the street. You don't need really complex vocabulary to start speaking. So instead of learning more words, more advanced words, learn fewer, but in full phrases. These are called the vocabulary chunks, meaning ready-to-go phrases. For example, when you go to a coffee shop, you learn the whole phrase. Can I get a flat white? Or do you have some sugar? Right? You don't learn the word sugar. You learn, can I have some sugar? Do you have some sugar? The key here is to say these phrases out loud. You need to produce speech. Again, even if it's imperfect, even if it's messy, even if you need to repeat this phrase 50 times before you get it, that's totally fine. What you need here is patience. And remember this, speaking is retrieval, meaning you pull these words out of your head. There are many things happening at the same time in your brain. But understanding is just storing information that you need to pull out later. The third language learning myth is connected. My grammar has to be perfect before I speak. Guys, I've been learning English for over 2 decades right now. And for the first 10, 15 years, I wasn't able to connect with people in English because I was so afraid that my grammar isn't perfect. And you know the vibe. You go abroad for vacation, you meet new friends, you try to speak, but suddenly your brain is like present simple, present perfect continuous, past perfect, past continuous. Your brain starts obsessing over grammar. You correct yourself mid-sentence and you lose the flow completely. You get frustrated, embarrassed, and you are like, I'm done. I'm done. I don't want to do it anymore. Guys, your brain can't communicate and edit at the same time. So what did I do in this uncomfortable situation? I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna let it go. I'm gonna focus on being understood first. I was like, can you understand me? Good. Enough. Even if my grammar wasn't perfect, even if I don't know, mixed some verbs or I mixed some structures, who cares? As long as I am understood, that's totally fine. The fourth negative belief many learners struggle with: I'm just not talented. But this isn't a fact. This is a story. Let me tell you the truth. I am from Poland and I used to work with a lot of Polish people teaching them English, a lot of Polish adults. And you know what I observed? At school, they kind of traumatized us. We all had a huge language barrier. And it was perfectionism. Because at school, they taught us that if you say something, it has to be perfect. And when you made a mistake, you were shamed by both the teacher and the classmates. So I remember, for example, when I was in high school, I was in a very advanced English group, but I wasn't really advanced, to be honest. My English level sucked, but I was there for some reason. When I was reading a text in front of the whole class, they were laughing at me, and it was terrible. It was like really traumatizing. I needed to work with that on my own therapy because I developed this story that I'm bad at languages, that I can't speak English because there are people that are better than me. So I blamed myself that maybe I'm not smart enough, maybe I'm just stupid. That's why I can't learn this language as fast as other people. So here, every one of us can have a totally different story. But think about it. How did you feel at school when you were learning a foreign language? How did you feel in your home? How you were treated? Were you encouraged to learn this language or were you shamed? Learning a language is 70% psychology and 30% skills. So before you tell yourself, I'm just bad at languages or I can't do this, change your mindset and apply the right strategies, and you will see that you can become fluent and faster than you can imagine. This coffee is so amazing, guys. I don't know if you can see it. I recently discovered that I love flat white. It has like a double espresso shot, and it's the next language learning myth. I need more motivation. This is a big one. Motivation is an emotion, and emotions are unstable. Sometimes we feel sad, sometimes we are angry, sometimes we are frustrated, sometimes we simply feel pure joy and happiness and peace of mind. And the same is with motivation. Motivation comes and goes. It's not a constant in our lives. It's the end of 2025, exactly December 21st. So a lot of people have these, I forgot the word. What do you call it? New Year's resolutions. New Year's resolutions. They are like from January 1st, I'm gonna start learning this language for real. And then by February, it's over. The motivation fades and they still can't speak. It's because progress doesn't come from emotion. Progress comes from structure, from a clear plan, and from your decision that you're gonna do it and you're gonna stick to it. After watching this video, you can hop and watch this one. I created a plan that you will stick to during the entire year of 2026. A simple system that you don't have to negotiate with every single day works better than inspiration. And it's the same with business. Whether you are an employee or you run your own business, you know that you are not always motivated, but you have to do it anyway, right? To be completely honest with you guys, I sometimes don't feel like recording videos because maybe I feel down, maybe I'm a little bit sad, maybe I had a really difficult therapy session, and I'm like, I don't really feel like recording today. But then I get myself together and I find this inner drive and I do it anyway because I know that my goal is bigger than my motivation or no motivation, than my emotions. I simply follow my goal. So the conclusion here is that you need to have a clear goal. So ask yourself, why do I learn this language? Do I want to make more money? Do I want to travel the world? Do I want to make more friends? What do I want to do with this language? And then you're gonna stick to the plan. The next belief is that I don't have enough time. You know, I have kids, I'm married, I have work, I'm busy, I run my own business. I don't have time. I just don't have time for this. The truth is that most adults don't lack time, they lack clarity. If you think that you don't have time for language learning, it's not a language learning problem. It's a priority problem. Guys, if you really want to become fluent in a language, it has to be one of your priorities. For example, your kids are your priority, and language learning is also your priority, right? It has to be. If not, you will never become fluent. I hate to break it down for you, but that's true. And the second issue when it comes to time management is you don't have the right structure. You don't have the right methods. That's why everything feels so big. That's why you think that you have to spend hours studying this language. But that's not true. Sometimes 5 minutes a day, it's enough when you use the right methods. 10 intentional, focused minutes of speaking will take you further than 1 hour of random studying. We are slowly coming to an end, guys. Stay with me. And we're gonna go to the next belief, number 7. My accent is the problem. We talked about it many, many times before, but I want to touch on this one more time. I get a lot of comments and DMs of people telling me, Veronica, do I have to sound like a native speaker? Oh my God, I need to sound like a native speaker to speak English. If I don't sound like a native speaker, I can't speak. Take a deep breath and relax, because you don't have to sound like a native speaker as long as you are understood. Clarity matters more than sounding native. Again, as long as you are understood. So we need to learn the correct sounds. We need to learn the correct pronunciation. For example, my focus is American English when it comes to English. When it comes to Spanish, my focus is Spanish from Spain, right? I'm in Argentina right now, but when I speak Spanish, I want to sound like a person from Spain. Obviously, my accent is always gonna be mine. It's gonna be a little Polish, but I prefer to choose words from Spain. Why? Because more people in my close environment are from Spain. It's like a personal choice. There is no better or worse. It's simply personal choice. For example, when it comes to English, I choose an American accent because I work with American people and I simply find it more attractive. But you can choose the British accent, the Australian accent, the accent that works better for you. And then work on sounds, rhythm, intonation, pronunciation. For example, there are many, many sounds in American English that don't exist in my native language, in Polish, and I needed to learn them from scratch. Do I pronounce them perfectly? Absolutely not. Sometimes some Polish sounds slip when I speak English, and that's fine. Do people understand you? If yes, it means that you did a great job. And if people don't understand you, don't worry. Breathe and simply practice more. From 5 to 10 minutes a day, shadow native speakers, meaning copy native speakers when you watch something, and you're gonna be improving. Every day, 1% better. If your worry is that people understand me but can't understand you, the only difference between us is that I practiced more. That's it. It's not a matter of intelligence, of being smart. No, it's just a matter of practice for everyone. One last reflection when it comes to accents. Your accent is your unique story. For example, I don't sound like an American native speaker, and that's fine, because guess what? I'm not an American native speaker. I'm a Polish girl traveling the world, using English as a tool, and I'm proud of it, So my goal is to never sound exactly like an American, because I wouldn't like to erase myself, my personality. Finally, we're gonna go to the last belief. I'm too old for this. I have a client. She's from Poland as well. And she's like, Vero, I'm already 45. I'm just too old for this. My brain is not working the same way. So this one is very common. But let me tell you something. Adults don't learn worse. They simply judge themselves more. Self-sabotage is real when it comes to language learning, when it comes to weight loss, when it comes to business, many areas of our lives, right? We are sometimes our worst critics. So in reality, it's the pressure, the comparison, the fear of speaking, the fear of judgment slowing you down. It's not your age. Guys, I learned Spanish as an adult. I was already in my 20s when I learned Spanish to an intermediate level in just 7 months. It's totally possible. Of course, kids have it easier because it's pure biology, right? When you were a kid, you simply acquired your first language, your native language, as something natural. You didn't even question it. You didn't have this inner critic, right? You didn't have the fear of judgment. You simply acquired this language. I replicated the same vibe in my early 20s learning Spanish, and it worked. The conclusion is that when you practice more consistently with the right strategies, progress comes back and you become fluent. It doesn't matter how old you are. If you are 30, 40, 60, or 70, you can do it. Okay, guys, so here we have it. 8 beliefs that keep people stuck. Do you believe in any of them? Maybe in all of them? That's possible. And if yes, I hope that this video could help you and inspire you to keep going and not give up. Comment on this video. Let's do it if you want to start 2026 with a clear goal of finally becoming fluent in your target language, whether it's English, Spanish, or Chinese. It doesn't matter. I keep my fingers crossed for you, and I hope to see you in my next video next week. Happy New Year, guys. Love you. Bye bye.